Although Kubo and the Two Strings took years to make, the world was given a special treat when it finally premiered, with a combination of stop motion and computer animation used to tell this kid's epic story. Magic, animals, origami, annoying family members who are trying to ruin your life, this movie has it all. Hey, I'm Adrian with ChannelFrederator, and we've got all sorts of Kubo tidbits. So get your eyeballs ready, and be grateful you have both, because we've got 107 facts about Kubo and the Two Strings. Let's get started. Number 1. Kubo and the Two Strings was created by the stop-motion powerhouse Laika Entertainment, located outside of Portland, Oregon. Laika's produced enchanting films like Coraline, ParaNorman, and The Box Trolls. Number 2. Kubo and the Two Strings is the directorial debut of Laika CEO Travis Knight. Knight's produced and served as lead animator on Laika's previous 3 films. Number 3. The film was in development for 5 years. While Laika was in production for ParaNorman, one of their character designers, Shannon Tyndall, came up with the idea to create a stop-motion epic samurai tale. Number 4. The film's story is heavily influenced by Japanese filmmaker Akira Kurosawa and stories like Lone Wolf and Cub and Star Wars. Number 5. The instrument Kubo plays is called a shamisen. A shamisen is a Japanese folk instrument similar to an American banjo. Number 6. Kubo is a kid who has magical powers that can make paper form into origami. These origami pieces move around to the music when Kubo plays his shamisen. And for anyone who missed it, the Two Strings reference in the movie title are the strand of Kubo's mom's hair that he takes and the string from his new friend Beetle's bow. Number 7. In the film, Kubo must find his father's magic armor in order to protect himself from the evil sisters, who are his aunts, and especially from the Moon King, who is his evil grandfather. Lots of magic in this family, and evil. Number 8. The sisters and the Moon King actually took Kubo's eye from him when he was a baby. Yep, you heard right. So now he has only one eye, his right one. Who takes an eyeball from a baby? That's pretty evil. Number 9. To help shape up the screenplay for Kubo, Laika reached out to Coraline writer-directors Mark Hames and Chris Butler. Strong team? Check. Number 10. Knight chose Kubo as his directorial debut because he sees himself in Kubo. Knight explains that Kubo is, in a sense, an animator, since he brings bits of paper to life. Number 11. There's a couple more reasons Kubo and the Two Strings resonated strongly with Knight. When he was growing up, his mother introduced him to the fantastical world of J.R.R. Tolkien. Knight also had the opportunity to travel with his father on a business trip to Japan, and he instantly fell in love with Japanese culture and art. His love for fantasy and Japanese art led him to the world of Kubo. Number 12. Even though the film is set in a fantasy world and filled with magical elements, Laika didn't feel the need to explain the world's rules. They believe that they don't have to water down Kubo's world for audiences to understand. Through fantasy, the storytellers can express elements poetically through action. Number 13. Knight compares casting voice actors to assembling an orchestra. Each voice actor should fill its own space within the sonic spectrum. Laika will often pull audio clips of actors' previous movies and interviews and juxtapose their voices with an image of the character to see if they could be a good fit. So basically, a pre-screen. Number 14. Kubo was voiced by Art Parkinson, who's known for playing Rickon Stark in Game of Thrones. Though he also starred in the films San Andreas and Dracula Untold, this was Parkinson's first animated film. Number 15. When selecting the right voice actor to play Kubo, Knight listened to hundreds of blind auditions. When Knight heard Parkinson's audition, he knew he was the perfect choice, and none of the others came close. Since Parkinson lives in Ireland, he simply recorded himself performing the script on his mother's iPad to audition for the film. Thanks, Mom! Number 16. Between recording sessions for Kubo, Parkinson traveled to Australia to work with Dwayne Johnson on the film San Andreas. By the time he returned to finish recording Kubo, his voice had dropped significantly. Luckily, Parkinson was able to pitch his voice higher to match his previous recordings. He joked that hanging around Dwayne Johnson influenced him to act more manly and hit puberty faster. Number 17. One of the elements that drew Parkinson to the film was Kubo's strong bond with his mother. Parkinson is also very close with his own mom, and they often travel together when he's filming and doing interviews. When he and his mom watched the final film together, it even had Mama Parkinson in tears. Aww. Number 18. For Knight, directing actors was challenging because it was the exact opposite of directing maquettes. With maquettes, animators start from the inside out. They focus on figuring out the emotional core of the scene first, then they determine movements to express the emotion. Whereas when directing actors, it's best to work from the outside in, providing actors with the context of the situation and scene so they can determine how their character would feel in that situation. Number 19. For Kubo, the voice acting was recorded first, and the actors recorded individually. Recording solo meant not getting to play off other actors. To allow for a wide variety of interpretations for each scene, actors recorded their lines several times in different ways. Once the lines were recorded, the audio was edited together to form a conversation. Seemed to work because the chemistry between the actors in the film feels so genuine. Number 20. Beetle is voiced by Academy Award winning actor Matthew McConaughey. Mcconaughey. You know him from Dallas Buyers Club, True Detective, Interstellar, The Wolf of Wall Street, and my personal favorite, Tropic Thunder. Number 21. To make Beetle sound like he was using a lot of energy, Matthew McConaughey would get on the ground in the studio and do push-ups. Number 22. When Laika approached Matthew McConaughey about being part of Kubo and the Two Strings, they explained that the actors had to speak in unaccented English. So to prepare for his role as Beetle, McConaughey had to practice speaking without his signature Texas drawl. Despite the removal of his accent, McConaughey's voice still had the gritty earthiness that Laika was looking for. Number 23. One of McConaughey's biggest incentives for working on Kubo was the chance to be a character his children would love. McConaughey's kids often favor the goofy comedic relief in animated films, so he jumped at the opportunity to be the funny side character, aka their favorite. Number 24. In addition to his preparation for Beetle, McConaughey would practice different voices with his kids and see which they thought was the funniest. Smart move, go straight to the audience. Number 25. The talented Charlize Theron brought the protective talisman, Monkey, to life. She starred in many critically acclaimed films, including Monster, for which she earned an Academy Award, Golden Globe Award, Screen Actors Guild Award, Critics' Choice Award, and 2 Independent Spirit Awards. Theron also recently starred in Mad Max Fury Road, and we know how many Academy Awards that got. Number 26. When Laika reached out to Charlize Theron about playing Monkey, she had recently become a new mom. The film's theme of family, being a strong mother figure for Kubo, and Theron's desire to work on a film that would be meaningful for her own children truly resonated with her, and she said yes. Number 27. When Charlize Theron showed her 4-year-old son the film's trailer, he was concerned audiences wouldn't know that his mommy isn't actually a monkey. Aw, protective son. Number 28. When Kubo tells a story at the village square, one of the fathers named Hosato exclaims, "Oh my!" This character was voiced by none other than George Takei, best known for his role as Hikaru Sulu in Star Trek. Takei is also a social justice and community activist and has worked with the Japanese American National Museum, the United States-Japan Bridging Foundation, and the Human Rights Campaign. In 2004, Takei was conferred with the Order of the Rising Sun, gold rays with rosette, by the Emperor of Japan, so he's a pretty big deal is what I'm saying. Number 29. Kubo's friend from the village, Kameo, was voiced by Brenda Vaccaro. You might recognize Vaccaro's voice from her portrayals as Mama Bravo on Johnny Bravo and Scruple on The Smurfs. Vaccaro's also won an Emmy for The Shape of Things in 1974 and a Golden Globe Award for the film Once Is Not Enough in 1975. Number 30. Kubo's enthusiastic fan, Hashi, was voiced by Keri Hiroyuki Tagawa. He starred in the film The Last Emperor, which won 9 Academy Awards including Best Picture. He's also known for his roles in The Man in the High Castle and Hachiko, A Dog Story. Tagawa founded the post-New Age breathing modality Chushin, which combines Western physical training with Eastern internal energy systems. Number 31. The terrifying duo, the sisters, were voiced by Academy Award and Golden Globe winning actress Rooney Mara. You might recognize her from The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and Carol. But don't fret, Mara isn't actually terrifying in real life. She even works with the non-profit organization Uweza towards providing educational and recreational opportunities to poverty-stricken youth in Nairobi, Kenya. Number 32. Aside from haunting my dreams at night, do you know what the Moon King and Voldemort have in common? They're both played by Ralph Fiennes. Number 33. To bring Kubo and the Two Strings to life, Laika used a combination of stop-motion animation and computer animation. This technique included green screen compositing and puppetry. Number 34. The puppets for the creatures in the Garden of Eyes were 6 feet tall. That's a bit taller than me. Number 35. The giant eyeball plant in the Garden of Eyes is actually a semi-automated puppet. Instead of moving it by hand, animators engineered a 3-way axis device using a bowling ball. This allowed animators to control the eyeball and move it in 3 different directions with a trackball mechanism. Number 36. The eyeballs of the sea creature are made of a metal mesh that covers the entire interior of a sphere. Inside the pupils are little LED lights that also move to create a sense of ethereal electricity. Number 37. The Hall of Bones took 360 square feet of the set. For the set, artists painted 380 12 by 12 inch tiles with 200 gallons of clear resin to make them look like jade. This involved a 4-step process and it took 75 minutes to make each individual tile. These tiles went on to form a single panel of the octagonal hall. The other 7 panels were digitally replicated for the sake of efficiency. Phew, that's a lot of work. Number 38. Remember the terrifying skeleton that had swords for days? The stop-motion puppet for it weighed 400 pounds and was 16 feet tall with a wingspan of 23 feet. That's the largest stop-motion puppet of all time. It was so large it had to be filmed and operated in separate pieces. Number 39. The giant skeleton is actually based on a chilling Japanese folklore about the Gashadokuro, which is made of the bones of people who starved to death and now seek revenge for their demise. Number 40. For some scenes, a 1/6 scaled down version of the skeleton was used. This puppet came out to be 2.5 feet tall. Definitely not as scary as his 16-foot tall brother. Number 41. Kubo's puppet is 9.5 inches tall. Pretty tiny for a lead star. Number 42. Kubo's search for the sword Unbreakable was like looking for a needle in a haystack. Turns out for the full-scale skeleton model, 70 swords were made for the skull. For the amount of time Kuba had to search for the sword, I'd say it's pretty impressive he found the right one in so little time. Number 43. To make the gigantic skeleton's torso armor, 1,000 bones were used. No wonder the skeleton lived in the Hall of Bones. Number 44. If the Hall of Bones action scene reminded you of something, it was probably the classic skeleton fight scene from the film Jason and the Argonauts, the iconic 1963 stop-motion film by Ray Harryhausen. It was one of the major inspirations for this scene in Kubo and the Two Strings. Number 45. To create the finest puppets, Laika Studios partnered with 3D printing company Stratasys to re-engineer its new printers. 3D printing allows for more repeatable, subtle, and better animation, according to Ariane Suttner, head of production. A plastic printer that mixes 3 different colors was used to create Monkey, who consists of cyan, magenta, and white. However, for the humans, a 3D printer that uses compressed powder was used for more subtle shade gradations. Number 46. 66,000 faces were 3D printed for the characters. Each face was constructed with 2 interchangeable parts, brows and mouth. Kubo is capable of making 48 million facial expressions. The seams that show separation in parts is removed digitally. Number 47. To generate the various facial expressions, animators modeled the characters' faces in a computer, animated the characters with 3D animation, then sent the geometric designs to a 3D printer. Number 48. Armatures are used to support the puppets and hold poses. These supports are also removed digitally in post-production. Most of the special effects are done practically and in camera. Number 49. The super spooky sisters costumes were inspired by Tomoe Gozen, a female samurai, and other female ninja warriors. Number 50. The sisters' capes that turn into wings include 183 individually handmade feathers that are kept together with piano wire woven in ball joints up the spine. Each feather was a unique size and shape so they can slide over one another without getting stuck. Number 51. Monkey's structure consists of several layers, a metal armature, a muscular suit, and a fluffy fur suit. Number 52. To create a sense of movement and gravity as the character's clothing moves, costume designers installed weights into the framework of the costumes. Number 53. The human characters have genuine human hair that was stylized with silicone rubber. Authentic. Number 54. To become experts in the origami and the kirigami art form, Laika had their animators attend an origami and kirigami convention. Oh, do people dress as origami? Number 55. The intricate origami figures Kubo creates are actually possible to make. Artists first sculpted the origami figures with paper to ensure they were realistic. To sculpt the puppets like paper Hanzo, the artists reproduced the figures with metal skeletons and covered it with Tyvek, a material which doesn't tear. Number 56. For the paper that floats and folds itself into shapes in the air, the artists used paper towels from their restroom dispensers. Good thing it wasn't hand dryers. Cinefoil, an aluminum material, was also used for folding. Number 57. The Heian kimonos seen in the film had bendable metal inserts that allowed animators to handle them and create movement with ease. Number 58. According to assistant director Phil Brotherton, each Laika film starts with a nugget. For Coraline, it was Japanese illustrator Tadahiro Uesugi's clean and elegant lines and art style. For ParaNorman, it was sketchy, rough-hewn scribble. For Box Trolls, it was the nervous line. That meant that lines were never straight or parallel, which was inspired by German expressionism. For Kubo, the nugget was Japanese artist Kiyoyoshi Saito. Saito was heavily inspired by European artwork and patterns. For Kubo, the nervous line theme also continued with items being slightly crooked. In Japan, this is called wabi-sabi, meaning beauty in imperfection. Number 59. Saito often worked with wood blocks, and the lines in his paintings mimicked the curves found in wood and bark. Playing off of Saito's artwork, woodblock textures were often used throughout the film's surfaces, including the sky, fabric, grounds, and people's faces. If you look closely, even the raindrops feature Saito's woodblock pattern. Number 60. The art department had reference boards to follow for the movie's style. Without these boards, style drift might have happened. For example, someone's interpretation of what wood looks like might be different from how wood is stylized specifically in this unique world. Number 61. The moon beast is based on an actual prehistoric fish. Ugh. Glad it's prehistoric. No thanks. Number 62. The Moon Beast is Laika's first entirely 3D printed puppet. It was made of 881 individual parts, 130 color 3D printed parts, and 751 parts that combine metal armature and internal dressing pieces. Number 63. Printing all those parts for the Moon Beast proved to be time consuming. For every second of film the Moon Beast was in, 24 different faces needed to be produced. Printing 20 faces took 40 hours, so about 60 hours of printing time were spent to create 1 second of a scene in the the film. Laika's supervisor of Rapid Prototype, Brian McLean, estimates that the total time spent on 3D printing for Kubo and the Two Strings was a year and a half. Number 64. The Moonbeast's spine is partially made up of posable gooseneck tubing, which is often used for microphone stands and lamps. Number 65. The sailboat Kubo constructs with leaves and twigs is modeled after traditional cargo boats called junks. As a whole, Kubo's boat is meant to look like he folded it with one gigantic paper made of leaves and twigs. Number 66. Kubo's sailboat was made with Canson colorline paper, which was laser cut into about 250,000 leaves. That took about 100 hours to complete. Number 67. It took 3 carpenters, 4 landscape artists, 4 model makers, 2 scenic artists, metal fabricators, and 2 machinists to complete the boats in 4 months. Filming the actual sequence took 19 months. Now that's dedication. Number 68. It took Laika Studios 1 whole week to create 3 seconds of a scene. Tell that to your teacher next time they ask where your project is. Number 69. Several techniques were used to create the tumultuous waves seen when Kubo, Monkey, and Beetle set sail. Some included wave-shaped panels that rock up and down, another involved panels that tilt back and forth like dominoes. There was even a mechanically wired structure with a shower curtain draped over it to create the illusion of rocking waves. Tying everything together, Laika's own digital water system was edited in. That's a lot of prep for sailing. Number 70. To help visualize and maintain the production schedule, everything was mapped out to the T on a calendar, across an entire wall. Each day details how many frames from which scenes need to be completed. In a production like this, it's probably good to be organized. Number 71. When preparing to animate a scene, stop-motion animators sat down with the director, watched an animated storyboard, and even shot test footage acting out the scenes. This helped them understand how to physically move the characters around. Number 72. A chart called an exposure sheet, also referred to as a dope sheet, camera instruction sheet, or X sheet, was used to map out in which exact frame a certain action is made or dialogue is said. This helped stop-motion animators understand when to replace a character's facial expressions to correspond with the spoken dialogue. Number 73. The colorful orbs that illuminate when magic is performed are created digitally with computer graphics. Number 74. A gooseneck tube armature was also used in Kubo's mother's ponytail to create movement while she ran away with Kubo in the ship. Number 75. The mask the sisters wear is called a no mask, which is worn by performers in classical Japanese musical dramas. Number 76. To study how fabric could be folded and draped on the characters' bodies, the costume department studied origami and the work of Japanese fashion designer Issei Miyake. Miyake is known for his technology-driven clothing designs and the way he folds fabric to create dimension and structure. Number 77. Head costume designer Deborah Cook even traveled to Japan to fully immerse herself in the culture in order to understand how to authentically dress the characters with fabrics, weapons, armor, and traditional shoes. Number 78. Typically, animation doesn't call for costume designers, but Cook's work with Laika since their first film together, Coraline, has set a precedent. Cook has become one of the top stop-motion costume designers. Aside from Laika's films, she also has designed for Tim Burton's Corpse Bride and Wes Anderson's Fantastic Mr. Fox. Number 79. When all of the set pieces making up Kubo's village are put together, it runs 80 feet long. Number 80. Set pieces such as the wall panels in Hanzo's home are detachable to allow stop-motion animators easy access to the props and puppets. Number 81. Beetle's strong armor was made up of 85 external pieces. This made his armor's movement extra precise and sturdy. Number 82. Like Kubo, each character is sculpted to be on average 9.5 inches tall, which is ideal for animators to move them around in sets that are typically 43.5 inches high. Number 83. Kubo's teeny tiny origami Hanzo companion is actually built taller than Kubo. This was done to show off the incredible detail in his armor. Hanzo's model scale is about 732%. Number 84. For the scene where Kubo and the Moonbeast face off and the beast grabs Kubo, a 4-foot-long handtail was crafted. If the Moonbeast was a real-life monster, in scale to humans it would be 73 feet long. Number 85. To help create each character and build the entire set, Laika has a team of 65 designers and craftspeople. Each set is designated a 20 to 25 person team of animators. Alongside a team of camera and lighting operators, the teams work together to bring the puppets to life. Number 86. When shooting the puppets' movements, sound and video are never recorded. Instead, still frames are photographed using a Canon 5D. These photographs are later stitched together in editing. Number 87. For the 3D release of Kubo, Laika photographed each shot twice, once for the right eye and once for the left eye. That's double the work. Number 88. In honor of the film, the Japanese American National Museum, located in Little Tokyo in downtown Los Angeles, hosted a pop-up exhibit on Kubo and the Two Strings. It displays origami, costumes, puppets, and other items used for the film. Number 89. As with many of its other films, Laika Laika never test screened Kubo with focus groups before releasing it to theaters. Laika films are usually the final product of what directors envisioned. They're pure and unaffected by outside bias. Number 90. Laika Studios believes Kubo and the Two Strings is the most challenging film they have made because of the gigantic action and fantasy set pieces and vast natural landscapes. Number 91. Since Laika's formation in 2005, the studio has maintained its main crew for each of its films. This allows crew members to experiment with new techniques and grow from their experiences together. Knight believes those years of experience were needed to tackle on a film as challenging as Kubo. Number 92. To create a stunning soundtrack for Kubo and the Two Strings, Laika reached out to Academy Award-winning composer Dario Marianelli. Marianelli previously composed for The Box Trolls, Atonement, and Jane Eyre. Number 93. Kubo's source of magic is the music he plays with his shamisen. As a result, music played a big role throughout the film's production. Typically, a film composer isn't brought on to work on the film until after it's edited together. In order to make sure Kubo's timing and hand movements matched the music composition, Marianelli had to compose songs before animators could sketch out the puppet's movements. Number 94. Knight compares Kubo to the legendary Greek hero Orpheus. Orpheus's singing and playing were so enchanting he could make animals, trees, and even rocks move and dance about. That's good music. Number 95. When picking out a musical theme for Kubo and the Two Strings, Knight knew the Beatles song, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, was the perfect fit. For Knight, the Beatles have been a huge part of his life and his connection with his mother. Carrying over musical themes from the score, Marianelli infused taiko drums, koto, and shamisen with cellos, violas, and basses to the cover of the classic song. Number 96. Regina Spektor sings the lead vocals for the cover of While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Spektor is known for her quirky, eclectic songs like Fidelity and Samson. Number 97. To cover the Eric Clapton guitar solo in this song, musician Kevin Kometz played the shamisen. Kometz found this particular solo to be challenging because it's typically pulled off by bending guitar strings, which can't really be done with shamisen strings. Number 98. Knight joked that the entire budget for Kubo and the Two Strings is probably the same as Disney's craft service bill, aka lunch money. Number 99. For scenes with large crowds of villagers, only the main characters are stop-motion puppets. The rest of the crowd is generated through computer animation. This goes almost undetected since the focus is primarily on the main characters. Number 100. The character designs are simple and shape-based. Some of the character designs, such as the sisters, were inspired by late Edo period porcelain dolls. Number 101. When finding the right style to use across the film, the art department first determines the character's style. Once the characters are stylized, the artists apply this to other elements such as props and sets to form a cohesive aesthetic. Number 102. Each character in the film has their own unique color palette and fabric. As you can see, Kubo's colors are warm and vibrant, while the Moon King's colors are muted and cold. Number 103. Various techniques were tested to create a glistening effect for the beetle on the back of Kubo's robe. Some methods include shadow folding, stitching on top of the embroidery, painting on the fabric, laser etching into the cloth, and vinyl heat pressing into the robe. Number 104. One of the biggest challenges for the costume department was trying to fold and pose silk at that small of a scale. To shape Kubo's mother's robe, designers added rubber backing for the silk to lay on, and even inserted small pieces of tin. Number 105. In Beetle's original design, he had large shoulder pieces on both sides of his neck. These ultimately had to be removed because they restricted the puppet's movement. Number 106. On the Kubo website, fans can play an array of games like Moonbeast Brawl, Bocce Breaker, Origami Harmony, Street Showdown, and Shadow Spring. Number 107. Knight's father just so happens to be Phil Knight, co-founder and chairman emeritus of Nike Inc. In collaboration with Nike, Laika released a Kubo and the Two Strings inspired Air Jordan 15 sneaker. The limited edition shoes had two designs, a red Hanzo themed sneaker and a blue Moon King sneaker. The shoes were available on eBay for charity, which auctioned 220 pairs, and all proceeds went towards Matthew McConaughey's Just Keep Livin' Foundation. Fans were also able to snag a pair of those shoes by playing the Beast Battle game and earning one of the top 250 scores by August 24, 2016. Thanks for watching 107 facts about Kubo and the Two Strings. Would you want Kubo's powers? Which character is your favorite? Comment below and let us know. We have new videos dropping every week, so let us know which animated film or TV show you want us to cover next. And if you like getting more from your cartoons, subscribe to ChannelFrederator, because remember, Frederator loves you.